All right, everybody. So welcome to this Daylight Savings Time Spring Forward event. I know everybody feels very excited all day, every day. So in addition to not getting any sleep and being up for days in a row and feeling the pressure of an early AIGA, we're going to roll this time forward so everybody has to get up an hour early and you don't feel so bad staying up an hour late. So at this point in time, we have gone ahead and started doing face-to-face meetings. I know at least 3 of you have had face-to-face meetings already, and hopefully it hasn't been too combative. It didn't hopefully leave everybody crying or wanting to run any more than usual.
No, you were very helpful.
It was very helpful.
All right. Well, cool. Do you guys want to give any words of encouragement to anyone who hasn't quite gotten to that point yet?
Has most of the class not met you live yet for the second meeting?
No, I think
I'm meeting him tomorrow.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm tomorrow too.
Print your piece to their correct size if possible. Trim it. That's a pretty good one.
Do not trust the staples at Carry. They don't trim anything and they get nasty if you try.
I asked about that and they were like, we charge extra for trimming now. And I was like, what?
Yeah, the ones that I had just refused to do it. It's like, no, we don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
and I
thanks,
said,
guys.
do you have those big chop thing where I can just do it myself? And they were like, no, we charge.
No, you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
It's really irritating. You're not even allowed to do it yourself.
Yep.
So one of the things that a couple people have been finding, just to kind of keep in that vein, is number one, the place where you get your work printed matters. This has always been the case anytime you've ever had printed work for any of your courses, but now more than ever. I think I have seen 2 students who had their work trimmed to size and got full credit. Many people failed to have their work trimmed to size and lost some points. Somebody accidentally had their work crumpled up in their carrying case, so it came out all messed up, and that didn't look very good. So just remember, you're presenting your work. So we were talking about this earlier, and the student in my office was getting very upset. It's just a reminder that all of the grades that you have in the class up to this date represent 5% of your grade for the whole class. 35% are going to be your final portfolio. About 20% is your online portfolio. 10% is your face-to-face meeting with me, with your works all trimmed to size. Then there's presentation materials that come into there. And there's a couple of other little this and that's with resumes and business cards. So just make sure that you're doing your best and you're putting your best foot forward. What should you do if you have your work but it's not done right?
Fix it.
Fix it. Print it again. Show
Go
up
home
early.
and get kitchen scissors.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Whoever, Diana, shame on you. No.
X-Acto knife.
Yes.
X-Acto knife is much better. Don't use kitchen shears.
I didn't say kitchen shears. I said kitchen scissors.
Kitchen scissors.
Sewing scissors.
Yeah.
Pinking shears, the ones with the little.
No.
The floral shears.
So do make sure that you have your stuff. Somebody told me that to get their work done, they went to a print shop, and the print shop worked with them for about an hour and then said, I'm sorry, we just can't print things that size. And so the student just had to kind of find their way to make that work. They had to print it themselves, and then they were not allowed to use the cutter on the premises, so they brought it to my office. And then they kind of came in, and then they left, and they cut it on their car. So that person is not here, but by process of elimination, I think you'll still have a hard time figuring out who that person was. But that said, I'm looking forward to meeting with you. If you had a long time, I gave you a lot of time. If we were talking and somebody came and poked their head in and said that their time was next, I think things got cut about 5 minutes more. So look at the time that you are supposed to meet me in my office and try to show up early. Other than that, show up early, get ready to meet with me. I'll write directly on your work, and everything will be very straightforward. Other than that, if you have a meeting with me after 4 p.m., between 4 and 7, tomorrow will be in the ILC on main campus, which is the next building over. Other than that, do you guys want to talk about anything in general? Do you guys want to talk about any new revelations with the 20 different portfolios? Did you think that it was in the right point during the semester? Did you think it was too late? Did you think it was too early?
I mean, I like the time. I told you before personally that I like the time, just because it lets me look over what I've done already and go, you know, this wasn't working, or, oh, this was been a better idea, rather than right at the beginning when I'm almost a little overwhelmed with the amount of, wow, there are so many different types of portfolios.
Sometimes it can be kind of tough, and we have sometimes juggled with the idea that if we show you too early, you'll find somebody's portfolio, not you, not any of you, you'll find somebody's portfolio online and steal their design and just be lazy. Which could happen. I don't think any of you would do that. You'd like to make something that's more you-oriented. Abe, were there any things that you would like to cover during this meeting? Okay. Well, if you change your mind, you let me know. Okay. So it's daylight savings time, and I'm totally bushed. And I think that some of you are also showing signs of being a real designer, which means no sleep and high stress, also a life at home. Some of you even have a social life. I don't know how you do that. But if there are any things that you guys would like to talk about, we've got AIGA portfolio review on the 28th. Early bomb. Nobody knew about that until Monday, I think, or Wednesday of last week. So nobody knew until it was announced in the meeting, and then we got that announcement sent out the very next day. So it's going to be on the 28th in Cary. If you are interested in going and you don't want to have to pay, make sure that you get all your paperwork to Julie Evans. I know 4 people turned in, that was a 4. 4 people turned in their paperwork already today for that. How many of you are planning to go to AIGA? Okay, Levi, Ryan, Renee, or Abe, you don't have a picture, so I don't know if you raised your hand.
I did not.
Okay.
Not sir.
Not me, sorry.
Okay, well, I don't know if you raised a hand or a fist or a finger. I don't know.
No
I don't know
finger.
if anything went on, or you're just quietly brooding with
I'm
anger.
so focused on my work right now.
Yeah, very focused.
All right, we'll do what you need to do. Other than that, there has been a request that on April 27th, if you are interested in coming and talking about your portfolio, we are going to try to bring in some area businesses to come and look over student work as kind of a recruiting possibility.
Oh.
And I'll also, so that I'm going to put out an announcement for that tomorrow, April 27th. And if you have a class with Julie Evans, you can ask her about that. I think we're going to try to swing some food and stuff as well. But it'll be a chance for you to showcase your work in front of some professionals after. In fact, 25 days after your portfolio is done. So if you want to make changes and you have the funds, there'll be an option there for you.
And what do you mean by showcase? Are you talking about like we present one by one, or do we
That's
just
a great
kind of
question. I think what we're going to have is we will probably have tables. So very similar to AIGA, you will put your portfolios out with business cards. And then there's a possibility that you will sit behind those. And if someone comes up and talks to them, you can say, "Stop touching my work." or you know, "Hey there, little guy. Looking for a new creative designer? Hey, that's a nice jumper you have." I don't know what people say. But you have an opportunity to sweet talk the people who come in there and kind of get on their good side.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I'll make an announcement. There'll be more information to come. Other than that, somebody asked in my office today if I could discuss what was going to happen with portfolios after you turned them in. Would you guys be interested in hearing about that?
Yes.
I would.
Yes, please.
No. Okay. So on the day of April 2nd, I will arrive at the school early in the morning, 9 o'clock, and I will be sitting in my office. That's the exciting part. When you come in and tell me you have your portfolio, we'll sneak down the hall into a room that we have set aside, and you will deliver your resume, your business card, and your printed portfolio in whatever container you want. Sometimes that's a bag, sometimes that's a box, sometimes it's a plastic bag, sometimes your resumes and business cards fit inside your portfolio, and we take those items. I write your name on a sheet so that I know you have turned in your work. And then it sits there. And at the end of the day, over the next week or so in April, what's going to happen is your portfolio will be reviewed by 2 separate people at least. One of them at least will be a business professional in graphic design in Raleigh. They might be in Cary, or Durham, but that's kind of the Raleigh-Durham area. Let's go with that. Okay. For every piece in your portfolio, the first 8 at least, you will receive 5 different grades on a score of 1 to 100. Sorry, I thought you were asking a question, Sue. That caught me off.
I'm sorry, because somebody was asking something to grab it. Sorry.
No, it's all right. So you'll get 5 grades. 1 will be on the concept of the piece. So if you have a good concept, you'll get a good grade. If you have a poor concept, it's the Pantone postcard, which they've all probably seen over the last 8 years. If it's a poor concept and they know it, they'll look at your take on the concept and they'll give you a grade. You will be given a grade based on color. Are the colors that you've chosen appropriate? Again, how they determine whether it's the right color or not will be based on the description of the piece or the clear determination of what you're showing. So for instance, if you have something called red stripe and it's got a big red stripe in it, that's probably going to be appropriate. On the other hand, like if it's a yellow and green bottle, color might not be right. So they'll give you a grade based on all of your color. You'll get a grade based on craft. craft is how something is made. So it'll be based on, do you have high resolution? Are the edges crisp and clear? Are the shadows going the right way? Does the materials make sense? Okay, so color, craft, concept, typography. How is the text? Do you have spelling errors, grammatical errors, widows? Did you use a good set of fonts? Did you use Comic Sans?
Maybe.
Maybe I did. So based on whether you've chosen the right fonts for the piece or the wrong fonts. And again, how will they know? They're designers, they'll have a good idea. Also your description. So if you, for instance, I'm gonna pick on Diana because she always laughs when I pick on her. If your material is called Mary Monk and it uses a black letter typeface, that's probably an appropriate typeface. On the other hand, if it's, you know, Terrence B. Willingham III's bank depository, and you're using Comic Sans, like that's the wrong font for this. Like, it's not, Lobster's not gonna work, it's the wrong font. Okay, it sounds like it's something timeless and traditional, or possibly extraordinarily modern, but not some goofball typefaces. And then finally, your composition. Did you do a good job laying your work out? So for instance, just as an aside, imagine you were gonna go buy a house. Maybe some of you are already there. Maybe you've had this process before. When you look online, you see 2 or 3 small pictures of rooms. Is that usually enough to get you to lay down hundreds of thousands of dollars on a house? Probably not a very good way to show it. On the other hand, if you were to go to the house and you were to smoothly flow from one room to a next, seeing everything, then you probably will know if it's a good house or not. So if your portfolio spreads are laid out with some clear information, maybe some sketches, and a really nice flow of design from one side to another where we can see everything that has to do with this campaign, that's probably going to get a great composition grade. If you have a bunch of disjointed boxes that don't line up and the colors are all over the place, your composition skills are probably going to drop down in there. But for every piece in your portfolio, they'll go to spread number 1. All 5 of those will get a grade. And they'll give you feedback and comments on how to fix it. And they'll go to the next one, and they'll give you feedback and comments on how to fix it. And they'll do that for all 8 campaign pieces.
Do they write these comments down right on the portfolio, or how?
No, it's in a file.
Oh, okay.
And then we'll send that file to you when it's all said and done.
Gotcha. I was gonna say.
So all 5 of those grades will go down, and they'll be combined at the last minute. And we'll keep a copy, and you guys will get a copy. Then the next person will come and review, and they'll do all that stuff all over again, and the 2 people will never work together on that stuff. So just as a precaution, let's say Mr. Dockery is angry at Mrs. Dockery, and he comes to work angry, and then he gets fussed out by his boss, and then he grades your portfolio. If I give you a D- on every single thing, and then Bill Smith from UNC TV comes in and he's like, this is amazing. This is the best stuff I've ever seen. We got to hire this person today. I'm taking 2 business cards because I'll need one for my supervisor, and I'm taking a resume. And that person gives you all A's. When it's all done and you've got all A's and all D-, we understand that one of those people is off track. And so another person will come and look at your work then. But usually it's like the B's and C's or A's and C's or B's and C minus. They're usually pretty close. One of them at least will be a professional from the field. One of them is often, but not always, a faculty member here. Question: am I allowed to grade your portfolio?
No.
No.
I can't. It wouldn't be fair because I've been giving you feedback on how to change your portfolio all the way through the semester. And, I'm going to pick on Sarah. What if Sarah thinks that all of my feedback was terrible and I was just wrong, and Sarah wants her portfolio to look differently? She shouldn't have to worry about getting an F just because she and I don't agree.
Right.
So another faculty member, not me, will be able to grade your guys' works. So don't worry about a conflict of interest. That won't happen. If you decided you wanted to go and talk with Julie or Carla about your work, they will still be objective when they grade your stuff. So don't worry about that. So the two people will grade your work. The grades will come together and you'll get one grade for your portfolio, which will constitute 35% of your grade for this class.
Mm.
Don't cry. Everything's going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
You've been working on these pieces since before this class. You've been working on these pieces for 3 months straight. You're probably sick of looking at some of them. Don't nod your heads. You're sick of looking at some of these pieces. You'll get a chance to get them looked at. If you don't like the score that you received at the end of the semester, your final product for this course will happen on or before our exam day. You will provide a print-ready PDF and you will send it to me. That's your final exam. If you have the exact same designs that you turned in at the week 12 point, guess what grade you get?
The exact same grade.
The exact same grade.
Possibly worse.
What's that?
Possibly worse.
Possibly worse. Yes, that's true. If you make changes to your portfolio, you can go up to 1 letter grade higher by showing the old portfolio and the new portfolio to me. Is it possible that you could lower your grade by making changes? Yes. It is possible for you to outright fail. And I'll tell you about one time that happened. We had a student who got C's in her portfolio and she was very upset. So she went and changed every single piece. And when it was time to turn in the portfolio at the end of the semester, she had 5 pieces. Is 5 pieces a minimum of 8?
No.
No. So she got a 0, or well, she didn't get a 0, but she got an F for the final exam grade.
Dear.
Well, that's not good.
So just let that be a caution to you. If she had fixed them one at a time and traded them out, her grade could have gone from a C to a B. But because she tried to work on so many at once, none of you are like this, but some of us work holistically. Well, we work a little bit on this and a little bit on that, and then at the last minute, it all comes together. You could imagine that if at the last minute it didn't all come together, that could really hurt you. So, in short, coming up on April 2nd, you're going to turn in your online, you're going to have a form where you turn in a link to your online portfolio. That will be reviewed by 2 people. You'll have your print portfolio that you will drop off. You'll drop off, I would say, probably somewhere between 6 to 10 business cards, and probably 4 resumes would be good.
Okay, I'm
5
glad.
would be better.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I was
Mhm.
actually wondering about that today. Like, do we print out just one card and give it to you, or?
No, you print out several, and the
Okay.
reason is, imagine, excuse me, imagine somebody opened up Levi's portfolio, and they said, "This is amazing. This guy can do photography. He can do videography. I see illustration in here, photo manipulation, graphic design, page layout. These are logos. Here's some package designs. Is there anything this guy can't do? I'm going to take a business card, right? In fact, I'm going to take 2. They're small." And then he's got 2, and he can keep 1 and give 1 to a friend.
Hmm.
So the teacher who looks over your work might take a business card and keep it, especially if you have a really nice design.
I see. Okay.
And then you'll get some back at the end. Who is usually the toughest reviewer? Is it a teacher or someone working in the field professionally?
Probably the professional.
Teacher.
It's the teacher every single time.
I guess it's the teacher. Yeah.
It is our job to step on your neck and make sure that you work extra hard and that you are constantly pushing yourself so that every piece is the best that it can be. Because then when you get in the workplace, no one has ever seen anyone that works that hard. And you'll have a nice, smooth transition into arts and creation management. So that's kind of what we're looking at. So we've got about 8 more minutes of time. Do you guys want to ask any specific questions about portfolios, printing, AIGA?
Can you keep going with your description? Like, how do we get our portfolios back from you?
Never get it back. So, excuse me, after your portfolio has been reviewed twice, we email you and we let you know that your reviews are done and you can come back and get them. So let's say Renee lived in another state. If Renee is going to have her portfolio delivered to the school, she can either send a self-addressed metered package inside the package with her portfolio, or she can have Blurb send it directly to the school, and that happens.
Okay, I'm actually gonna go in person and drop it off. Are we allowed to drop it off before April 2nd, or does it have to be on April 2nd?
100% yes. You can drop it,
Okay.
not tonight, but
No,
tomorrow.
no. No.
You come to my house and
No.
drop it off tonight.
Okay.
Don't do that.
Okay. No.
But yes, you can 100% drop your work off early.
So you
So when-
only require to print out our portfolio as a hard copy only once, right?
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to print it out
And
twice.
you just want the final as a PDF format.
Yep, you've already got the PDF file. There's no reason for you to spend any more money. This is not the case, but what if Bob turned in his portfolio and he got such a beat down that like he just never wanted to see those pieces ever again, and then he cried. I'm not going to force him to pay another $30 or $40 to have them printed again. The digital file is fine. If you feel you want to give us your portfolio when it's said and done, you're certainly welcome to do that, but it is not required. I urge you to save your work.
And AIGA, when you go there, don't you think we should be ready with the hard copy and bring it over so they can actually look at your work that way professionally?
I would if you can, but if you know for a fact that you will not be able to go to Laser Image NC and have your work printed in time, then you may want to find a stopgap solution, like I just couldn't get it done in time, so I asked Laser Image NC if they would saddle stitch it for me, or you print it yourself. If you have a really nice printer.
Mm.
So when it's all said and done, you come pick it up, and then we give you, usually it has a pass or a fail inside the piece. And that's how you know what you've got. And then also there are printed versions of your feedback that we will either give you or a digital version. We're working with Michael Shore on that on this time.
So when the portfolio is done for grading and like everything's done, since I live far away, my parents still live here. Would my mom or my dad be able to go to the school to pick it up?
I don't see why not. Our special password will be peanut butter. No, you decide. You decide what who you want to give it to, and it's not like you have to send a special photo or anything.
All right.
But you tell me, it's your property.
Form of ID. Just tell them that.
That's right. So this question came up, which was, how many portfolios do Julie and I take home in our car? 0. Let's say, just for the sake of argument, that you were really only a $20 an hour designer. I hope you feel sufficiently insulted by that. You have been working by week 12 a minimum, I'm guessing, of 15 hours a week. Every week times $20, that's $300 a week times 12 weeks. So about $3,600 worth of your personal effort, not counting mileage, not counting printing costs. I'm not going to put $4,000 worth of your material into my car and then get in a car wreck, or have my daughter accidentally spill a soda pop on it. So all of your work will always stay at school. It's just too much of a liability.
Makes sense.
Now, if you think you're a $40 designer, then you're talking like a $7,000 portfolio, which that sounds legit, but I ain't putting it in my car.
Waterproof paper, don't worry about it.
Springing for the synthetic UPO. Nice. All right, so we got about 2 more minutes left. Does anybody have any other questions about what's going on, how to get your work, what we'll be looking for? Make sure that your website portfolio has a homepage where I can look at your work and immediately know something about you. Make sure that you have an About Us page where we can learn about you. Make sure you have a contact page with something other than a form for us to get to know you, like an email or a telephone. That's up to you to decide. But if you use an email, don't use a funky icon unless you make it clear that is to email you. Make sure your portfolio has at least one piece that is not in your print portfolio. I would put it first. Okay? I'm looking forward to seeing your stuff. I know that you're stressed out now, but it's going to be awesome. I believe in you. If you have questions after we run out of time here, please go ahead and send it. Now, Abe says he put the About Me section as a small part of the homepage. Should it be its own page instead? Absolutely. No one will be able to find that if they want to know about you, Abe. So make sure it gets its own page.
Does all of the portfolio pieces that we have in that print portfolio be on the online portfolio as well? All of them?
I would leave one off so that there's a difference between what they see online and then what they see when they catch you in person.
Okay.
Great question. Anything that you want can appear online. Anything. Doesn't have to be portfolio worthy. Make it some good stuff though.
Like my videography and photo work?
100% yes. All right, we're going to run out of time. Please email me if you have questions. I'm around. I look forward to our face-to-face.
See ya.